Hello, my friends. I'm so glad you're here with me today. I want to share with you another experience that was very unique and different. If you have time, comment below and make sure that everything I talk about, you know, isn't too confusing. It makes sense. During my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, I had to do a practicum and an internship. This was the practicum that I was doing to graduate with my bachelor's degree in family studies and gerontology. I offered to do my hours at this little church that was by the homeless shelter. So most of the people that were homeless went to this church, and it was a very nice little church. There was a time where they made hamburgers and french fries and drinks for the people prior to going to church. When I was involved with them, they didn't do this anymore, and probably out of cost. You never know. So I was there in a psychological aspect to help. Whatever the church staff needed, I would help. And there was this one woman, and I noticed that if she came in and there was pews to the left and pews to the right, and then right in the middle was an aisle. If she sat to the left, everybody got up and moved to the right. If she sat to the right, everybody got up and moved to the left. And I was a little puzzled in the beginning of why this was. This woman weighed, I'm going to guess, 325 pounds. And she had been homeless most of her life. And her hair looked like someone had taken saran wrap and wrapped it around her hair. It did not look like human hair. And so after church, God told me to offer to take this woman home. Well, I went and told one of my friends what God said, and she said, "Oh, you don't want to do that. She can't get any rides home. She smells so bad, people will throw up." Well, God had asked me to do this, so I really didn't have a choice at the moment. So she was asking around for a ride, and everybody was telling her no. And so I asked her if she would like me to take her home. And of course she was thrilled, and we got in my car, and I went to 7-Eleven to get us a drink. And I was getting out, and I asked her what kind of soft drink did she like. And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, do you like Coke, Dr. Pepper? Sprite? What is it that you like?" She said, "You're asking me? You're asking me what I like?" And it was so sad. And I said, "Well, yes." She says, "Well, I like one of those bottled orange drinks." And I said, "Okay." So I went in and I got her the drink, and I took her home. She had gotten SSI, and so she was renting a little one-room place, and she did smell very, very bad. And so this happened on several occasions. And so I asked one of the professors. I asked her, you know, what could we do to help her? She said, number one, this woman doesn't know she smells bad. And I said, that's got to be impossible. And she said, no, I guarantee you this woman doesn't know she smells bad. You're going to have to tell her. Well, that's not something I wanted to have to do, and that's not something I wanted to hear. So, and God had also told me to get her some clothes. Well, I went to one of my classes, and there was this young woman there that I was friends with, and she weighed about 325 pounds. She literally leaned over and asked me if I knew anyone that needed some clothes. Can you believe that? God had asked me to get this woman some clothes. And this woman, who is exactly her size, asked me if I knew anyone that needed clothes. Well, that definitely I said yes. And so I had new clothes for this woman. And there was even a couple of jackets that were just, these clothes were lovely clothes, just wonderful clothes. And so as this woman and I talked these few times that I took her home, I asked her, is there anything you'd like to do with your hair? She said, oh, I would love to color it red. I used to have red hair. Well, I went and bought the dye to go along with the clothes. And I want you to know, I was terrified God was going to ask me to color her hair. If there's anything I didn't want to do, it's that I have a very, very sensitive stomach. When my little children would gag or throw up, I would throw up beside them. Instead of helping them, I made it worse. I have a very, very sensitive gag reflex. And for me to even have her in my car with her smells was God. He was helping me not get sick. And so anyway, this time I decided I better do what the professor told me, and I took her home, and she says, I want to ask you a question. She said, how come when I go up to it was her manager, and she was paying rent, but she called him something different. It was really cute, but she said, when I go up to pay my rent, he yells at me to get away. And she said, and then he threw up. I said, well, people at the church says that you don't smell very good. Well, she started yelling at me and saying that was a lie, that's not true, and all these things. And I said, well, how do you wash your clothes? And she said, what do you mean wash my clothes? And I said, well, go to the laundromat and wash your clothes. She said, well, I'm an old lady. I can't do that. And I said, well, some of the people at church said that when you were young, you were punished with hot water. And that's why you're afraid of water. She said, I'm not afraid of water, and all that's a lie too. And she said, what am I supposed to do? She said, I don't have money to buy new clothes, and I can't wash my clothes. And I said, well, I happen to have a whole lot of new clothes for you. And I have the hair dye you wanted. And she was very angry with me. She was still angry with me. But she took the clothes and the hair dye, and she left. And come, lo and behold, God did not ask me to be the one to fix her hair. He had the assistant I'm sorry, not the assistant pastor. He had the pastor's daughter do her hair. I want you to know she started looking great. Her hair looked great. She had all the new clothes on. Everyone in the church welcomed her. Everyone in the church talked to her. No longer did anyone leave if she sat down on one side or the other. And it's like, oh my gosh, society has even changed over this. I mean, I'm a witness to this right here. Well, about 3 years later, I saw her on the streets again, and she was in the same condition she was before the transformation. So she would need someone to be by her all the time, to be able to stay in a transition state, I guess. And we are just human. I mean, you know, if someone smells so bad you throw up, you don't want them beside you. I mean, that's just humanness. So what are the answers? If anyone out there has any answers to any of this type of experience that I can learn for the future, please comment. It was definitely a unique experience. Not everything that I need to do for God is easy. It was hard for me to tell her that she did not smell good. But what she asked me just opened the doors for me to talk about it. And I'm sure God arranged that. So thank you for being here with me. I hope your day is a perfect one, and have lots of fun. We humans need a lot of fun. I will see you next time. Thank you.